Welcome back to Channel 7. And now, back to our program. Ask Steve. Oh, hey Steve. What are you reading? Okay. Well, you know about the economy of Canada, right? But what about the Philippines? Well then, let me teach you. The economy in the Philippines is closely related to the US. The healthcare isn't paid for by the government, but rather, you pay for your own. Just like the Russians say, in Russia, healthcare don't pay you. You pay healthcare. About 60% of the hospitals in the Philippines are privately owned by other companies, while 40% are government owned. So you're basically saying that if I want to go get healthcare, I should either go to a private hospital or I should go to a public one. Well, obviously I choose the private one because obviously that's going to be better, right? Education is free on the other hand, for everyone up until high school, just like in Canada. There are private schools available for a price. So, people in the Philippines can choose whether or not to go to school. But of course, due to poverty, which is, I don't know, let's say 50% of the country, I mean, maybe a bit less, let's say maybe 25%-ish. Yeah, about 25% of the country is under the poverty line. So basically, they can't go to school because their parents are poor, they can't afford to get a job, they can't make a decent income, and therefore they cannot go to school. Because they're busy working at home, helping their parents out, etc., making money, blah blah blah. Money matters! Sorry, I got a little carried away. So anyway, in terms of trading, trade is done between countries in Asia and the US. The Philippines doesn't really have any free trade agreements with other countries, unlike in the United States where we have free trade between Canada and Mexico. And, what? Steve! Hey! Are you listening? Really? Eating now? Seriously? Anyways, there's tons of competition in the Philippines, and there is private property. To an extent, of course. These practices are quite close to the American economy. The government has put up programs to further develop the economy. Some of those programs include Adopt a School program, where funds are used to improve the quality of education in classrooms for better jobs in the future. A mortgage program would help the homeless with housing. A healthcare facilities program to improve the quality of basic healthcare services, and a lot more programs, which really is pretty a lot. Sounds like a lot, right? This is a good thing because the economy is expected to grow in the Philippines quite drastically. And by 2050, it will be the 16th largest economy in the world. Well, predicted 16th largest economy in the world. But at the state we're going in with falling oil prices and whatnot, I say give them a decade or so, maybe a bit longer. Yeah, I say give or take 50 years or more. I say 100 years. I'm betting 100 years. If their economy isn't the 16th, I'm calling my money back. The GDP, or Gross Domestic Product, in the Philippines is currently 39th in the entire world, which is very high for such an isolated country. But this isn't all that good, as you'll see when we come back from our commercial.
Mario Party 287, now available from Milton Bradley. Rated ages 10 and up. Some assembly required, may include choking hazards and death.
Okay, welcome back. Despite this growth, much of the people are living below the poverty line, which is about 25-20% of the population in the Philippines, which is, to me, that's quite a bit. That's like 1/4 of the country. Holy, that is bad poverty. Wow. With much of the people working for little to almost nothing, the family income is very low. There is much class separation between middle and low class, along with the high wealth class families. And let me remind you that the high wealth makes up a very, very small population of the total population, if that made sense to you. With the country moving from agricultural production to industrial production of things such as electronics for components, etc., people are being paid much less than farm life. Now, although people aren't being forced out of their farms in the Philippines, which is a good thing, at least one child from every family goes to the city, and that's usually the most educated, the oldest. Sometimes they usually go to the city to try to make money. In the end, they usually do, but most of the time it doesn't really work out that well. Private property is also an issue in the Philippines. Although private property exists, companies force people off their purchased land for development, causing more homelessness. People are forced into public property, causing confusion on which land is public or private. And trust me, it is a huge issue in which if this property is public or private, as in poverty in the Philippines, people make their homes wherever it's allowed or wherever it's stable, because literally any land is your house, pretty much. So apparently, according to that, there's no such thing as private property, or there is such thing as private property, but there's no such thing as public property. It's weird, I know. So in the end, there are still problems that the Philippines is trying to fix in terms of their economy and whatnot, but in all, the economy is in good shape, and it will continue to grow for years to come. And, well, that is it. Well, Steve, did you enjoy it? Whoa, wait. Steve, what are you doing?